going on, guys? Greg here. Just wanted to pop out a quick video for an MK1 I just completed. This is the Obi Wan Episode 4 Lightsaber done by Roman Props. This has a full crystal chamber and a Proffie 2.2 board. I know I haven't been doing too many videos lately. I've been just kind of busy moving into a new house, new job, stuff like that. So I've been kind of focusing on that, getting sabers out on the side and taking the time to produce a video. Even though it's not that crazy, it's just something I haven't dedicated the time to. So I'm trying to get back in the swing of that. And so we're gonna start with one of my favorites. So basically, quick rundown. We have Roman Props MK1, NeoPixel connectors per usual, the Rudy Pando crystal chamber up here, 2 switches under the button, and then the chassis is the one by Shtok Custom Works. So Proffie 2.2 lithium-ion battery, 28mm speaker, and so on. So the customer here actually sent me this saber. He bought everything kind of in pieces and pieced it together. He went from a static version of the prop to an FX version. So that's what we have here. So there were a couple of tweaks I had to make to the saber. Not everything fit together perfectly, but it's all good to go now. And one of the main things I want to do with this video is show the customer where you can and cannot unscrew things. This saber in particular is a little bit tricksy, both in the way the buttons work it can be a little bit touch and go at times, and then the saber can kind of come apart in a lot of places. So you don't want to accidentally unscrew something you're not supposed to. So let me do a quick rundown of how to access everything, and then we'll get into actually using the saber. So first of all, I'll go with installing a blade. So installing a blade is very easy. It will just pop inside of here. I have a recessed blade, which you can see here, which if you notice that inside here, the blade connector is actually into the hilt about, I don't know, half an inch or so. And so this saber can come apart in a lot of locations. So the thin neck can unscrew here by unscrewing the silver, the inner piece where the connector that's holding the pixel connector. So it can unscrew there, which you don't want to do. It can unscrew here at the neck, which if you did that, technically it's fine, but you don't need to, so you really shouldn't. And then it can unscrew here at the chamber. So again, I'll start with the blade. So blade is very easy. You just have your blade set screw here, which will allow you to tighten the blade down. So blade will, and for the blade, you do have a set screw holding the connector in place. So that should always be, inside. So this will just go pop in there, okay, down and tight. And then from there you would connect or tighten down your blade set screw right there, and you'd be good to go, okay? Easy enough to hold the blade in place. From there, I'll show you how to access the crystal chamber, which is located in the upper section here. From there, you want to take note of something that's really important. When you're unscrewing to access the chamber or to access the board, you want to have your main point of contact be the clamp card. The clamp card is kind of where you want to have your main grip, because it allows everything else to not slide too much. So undo your latch, and then for accessing the board, you would just unscrew from the booster. So see, boom, just like that, nice and easy. And I can come apart and slide out. From there, you can access your kill switch, SD card, USB access, and your charging port. Your charging port, which I have set aside over here, uses a 3.1mm jack, which I will provide with you as well as a charger. So all that's gonna be with you and set aside for you. To charge it, obviously just pop it in here with the saber on.
I will do what I must.
Okay, saber on, pop it in there. Light on the charger will go red. Sometimes the charger's a little funky. Twist it, make sure it's going red. If it's not going red, it's either fully charged if it's green, or it means that you just might need to fiddle with the plug a little bit. That's how those chargers work. If you want to access the SD card, obviously you can get a pair of tweezers like this. Saber off when accessing it. You can pull the SD card out, and then you have USB here if you're reprogramming the saber at all. Technically, these little doors here do pop off, but I don't recommend you doing that. You shouldn't have any reason to access that. All the wires are hidden behind there, and so you should not absolutely have to do that at all. So I'm going to turn this on.
Hello there.
So if you didn't already notice, this actually has KSith's new Obi Wan Kenobi font from the show. So that's something, a little surprise for you there. One thing that's an important thing to note, so the way the switches work in this saber is you have a switch under the bubble strip there and here. The bubble strip can pop out, and then the entire switch connector actually can lift out. It's got a 3-pin port under there. You don't want to do that. The one complaint we kind of touched on this, the customer and I did, is that the switches are just, you're playing with a natural setup of a Graphics card and a bubble strip, and there isn't any like natural buttons built into the saber, and so it's a workaround that Shtok came up with that's fantastic for what it does. But the buttons aren't the easiest to use. They work fully fine, but they're not perfect. And so don't slide out the bubble strip. Don't take off the clamp. You should never have to do that, so don't try to. Okay. But to access the crystal chamber, again, your latch up. Also, the bubble strip isn't going to move on its own, so don't force it out. So anyways, unlatch it. Again, hold from the main clamp section, and then the entire grenade section can spin. So you want to spin it, if you're looking at it this way, you want to spin it to the left, and then it opens up. Okay? And so from there, you can see there's a set screw here. This set screw goes in through this connector and rides on this rail. And this rail has a path that goes over that way and over this way. So you can essentially see that set screw rides in that rail. Okay? So it's important to note that you want to only slide from this set screw, this path. You don't want to keep twisting, because if you do, you'll actually end up, I'll show you a little bit there, and then you could unscrew right here. Okay? And that's how the Pando chamber kind of holds on. So you don't want to end up unscrewing that section there. Okay? With that being said, show off the chamber. So your crystal chamber, which I set up, it has a real quartz crystal in there. The Shtok upgrades, it's got a little red wire, right there to show a little bit detail off. It's a little bit, dirty, weathered, being in the desert for so long. I figured you want to add a little bit of, muck and grime to it, some mesh wiring, and then I think the Proffieboard actually made this. I had a spare one, so I tossed that on there as well. But you'll see that your chamber is pulsing between obviously bright and soft pulsing, and it's got a neopixel above and below the chamber to kind of illuminate it. So anyways, let's get this guy fired up. So again, back down and in. I should follow my own rules and hold it where I said to. So down and in, twist to lock, and then from there you can fire on. So changing fonts is your upper button, and then I'll have a list of all the button combos, but essentially your auxiliary button is your upper and your power button is your lower. So
Obi Wan Kenobi.
So I have a couple different fonts on here. This is Old Ben by KSith.
Obi Wan Kenobi.
There are a couple versions of it on there.
General Kenobi.
This is a bold one, again by KSith.
Kenobi.
This is Obi Wan Episode 4, and I have two versions of it. So I have, that's the first one.
Kenobi.
That's the second one. Basically, the two versions have different tracks. One of them is Obi-Wan's theme song, and the other one, the background is, what did I put on there? Oh, it's Anakin and Obi-Wan's dialogue, so you can kind of play that in the background while having the saber ignited, to hear the conversation between him and Vader at the end of the series. Spoiler alert, I guess, if you haven't seen it yet. So yeah, let's get this fired up. Power button down bottom. So you gotta kind of give it a little press. So from there. So basic functions that, again, I will have on that sheet for you is press to power on, press to power off. When the saber's on, you can press for blasters, you can press and hit for lockup. So I'll show you those things. Blaster, press and hit for lockup. Again, power off is press. Let's see here. I believe it's hold auxiliary 4. Does it hold power 4? There you go. For the song.
Anakin's gone. I'm what remains.
So, I just turned it off there, but yeah, it's press and hold the power button while the saber is facing vertical to turn on the music, and then vice versa, turn it off. Let's see here, small features. So I will show it quickly with the blade in. Obviously, because of the setup, it's hard to show the full blade igniting, but I do want you to at least see a little bit here. So, avoid my camera. There we go. So there we go. Okay, so your saber is in, your blade is in, power on. You can see I see full blade. So I'm trying to see if I can see this. I might go get lock up. I'll try again. There we go. I've added some cool. I just wanted you to be able to see with the blade, and it's it's really hard with the setup to show it off fully, but I did want you to, so there are some pretty cool blade profiles on here. Most of them are they're all Kenobi based, so they're all going to be, nothing too crazy, nothing, no weird blade animations, but I've all added in, like, you have your typical styles. So you have, drag, you have burn where you can burn the wall, you have a localized lockup, which means that that red that you saw will actually run up and down the blade depending on the pitch of the saber, so you can kind of real time make it look like you're locking the saber up depending on how you hold it. There is lightning block. There's all that fun stuff in there. Trying to think here. Just run through a couple of the other fonts here for you.
Obi Wan Kenobi.
This is Old Ben. This is very much his fight with Vader in Episode 4. Let's see.
Obi Wan. General Kenobi.
Episode 3 with Grievous. So this is, this one's much more of a very deep blue, whereas the one before was a very lighter cyan. So this is Episode 3 font. Okay. And then
Kenobi.
I get back to this one, which I believe this one's his. Yeah, this is Obi-Wan's theme song. There you go. So that's kind of just a preview of some of the music. Trying to think of what else here I just want to show off. If you notice that some of the Gribblies aren't in, don't worry about that. That's just, final touches on the saber. I know this is actually a longer video, but it's been a while, so, can talk a little bit. Yeah, one last thing to note is that when you do lock the chamber down, so this chamber, again, I said locks down and then twists to lock in place. You want to make sure it is locked in place, because again, if you start swinging the saber and it's twisted in the wrong position, it could swing upward, which won't really damage the saber too much if it only happens a couple of times, but it'll scare the crap out of you because this is a really big, heavy section, so you don't want to get in the habit of doing that. So make sure that's locked in place, and once you're doing that, swinging the saber, it shouldn't have an issue of moving, because how your grip naturally will kind of hold that grenade section. So I've talked to the customer. This is rated for very light dueling. You can make some contact with it, have some fun with it, but don't go swinging it like a baseball bat. But show it off, have some fun with it, show the chamber off. You cannot duel with it with the chamber open for a couple of reasons. One, when it's open, oops, that up and then go from there. First one, when it's open, is it's a lot more fragile, because there's about, I don't know, maybe like a 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch of material here that's holding this together. Aside from that, this is all just open area. So that's the first problem. Second problem is that there's a NeoPixel connector actually between here and here that allow the saber chassis to connect to the emitter. So as soon as this is open, when you turn it on,
Kenobi.
this doesn't light up at all. So it doesn't, have any effect. You can obviously display the saber open and turn it on, show it off. You know, it's still going to make all of its noises and all of its features. It's just, there we go. It's just not going to be able to light up and have a blade. And then once it's off, it goes back to pulsing. So I think that's done a pretty good overview. For the customer, I said the main thing is just keep in mind those different areas you don't want to unscrew. Unscrew from here, unscrew just the sliding part where the set screw fits in. You know, you don't need to do any more unscrewing there. And that's really all you should have to do. Make sure, you know, it's nice and locked in place when need be. And don't take out the bubble strip, no need to. If you do, you can always give me a call. I can kind of walk you through how to put it back in. And aside from that, I think you're good to go. So, like I said, I appreciate your patience on this. It's, you know, again, it's my favorite saber to build is the MK1, or the episode 4 Obi Wan saber. So I appreciate your patience on this. Hope you liked a couple of surprises. I hope you really enjoyed this. Hopefully it, you know, it sits on the shelf and doesn't collect too much dust. So if you have any questions, let me know. If not, I will catch you guys later. All right, bye.